let's unpack this. We have a really interesting stack of material today. Not your usual research papers or articles, but actually a transcript from a narrative YouTube video.
Oh, interesting. Narrative.
Yeah, it tells the story of Anna, a woman seeking refuge in an isolated cabin during a fierce blizzard. And then something utterly unexpected lands right on her doorstep. 2 injured wolves.
Wow, okay. Wolves.
Exactly.
Wow.
So our mission for this deep dive is to untangle the surprising events of this encounter, exploring how the narrative presents themes like trust, fear, healing, and whether sometimes the most unbelievable things turn out to be, well, surprisingly real.
It's a fascinating shift for us, definitely. Moving from analytical sources to pure narrative. This story really gives us a chance to see how deep emotional themes are woven into character and plot, especially against such a dramatic, isolated backdrop.
Absolutely, and that backdrop is crucial to setting the scene. The source opens with this intense description of Anna's cabin and the storm.
Right, you can feel the isolation immediately. The blizzard isn't just weather, it's described as howling like a living thing, snow pelting the glass. Anna's adding logs to the fire, trying to create this little pocket of warmth and safety against this overwhelming wildness.
And the story quickly hints this isn't just a simple escape, right?
Right.
She mentions the forecast failing her, calling it one more thing that's failed her this year. There's this definite undercurrent of past hurt or disappointment.
Exactly. We learn she specifically left her old life, a fiance, a career. The narrative notes some called it a breakdown, but for her it was survival.
Right.
Which tells us she's retreated here, carrying significant emotional weight, seeking not just physical solitude, but perhaps, a recovery from past pain.
And that isolation starts to play tricks on her mind, at least at first. She hears things scratch, 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 a howl, and initially she tries to dismiss them.
Yeah, it's her imagination, she thinks. The cabin walls are supposed to protect her from whatever's outside, both literally and maybe metaphorically too.
But that initial dismissal is a key character moment, isn't it? It shows her wanting to rationalize, wanting to keep the wild and unpredictable at bay.
Definitely. But the narrative is clear. She's got it all wrong.
Right.
There's also that early subtle hint of past trauma tied to things failing her, which really primes us for why she reacts the way she does later on.
Which leads directly into the undeniable arrival. The sounds escalate louder now, undeniable, and there's a distinct whine that definitely doesn't belong to the wind. It's not imagination anymore.
No, the reality is literally scratching at her door. Her first instinct is fear, pure fear, and the source shows her grabbing her grandfather's rifle.
Oh yeah, his last gift.
Exactly, almost a symbol of protection or a past connection she still holds on to. She's trying to tell herself it's just a branch, maybe a fox, but she knows it's not.
And then she looks through the glass. The image is powerful. 2 wolves huddled against the door. One is collapsed, bleeding, with these alarming crimson streaks in the snow. It's a shocking image of vulnerability from creatures she's been conditioned to see only as dangerous predators.
And this is where the central conflict really hits. The story highlights her internal battle between those ingrained wilderness safety lectures, the rules that say never interact with wild animals.
Don't do it.
Right. Versus what she's actually seeing, a mournful whine, which she perceives as impossible intelligence in the larger wolf's amber eyes, and almost human desperation.
The smaller wolf is clearly getting worse, fast, and that visible suffering, plus the larger wolf's gaze. It forces a decision. Despite her fear, despite all logic.
She decides to open the door. The narrative captures that moment perfectly, heart in her throat, feeling like she must be insane.
Yeah.
But she makes the choice, stepping aside to let them in. Logical or not, she's made her choice, the story says. It really emphasizes that this is a decision driven by something deeper than just practicality or fear. This act immediately challenges the whole premise of her isolation being a safe haven.
And once they're inside, the cabin feels impossibly small. The injured wolf collapses, and her immediate thought is regret about leaving the rifle outside.
Yeah, it underscores how terrifying her choice still feels in that moment. She hasn't suddenly lost her fear, she's just acted in spite of it,
Right.
But her actions then shift towards providing care. She gets venison stew from the kitchen, offering nourishment.
And the larger wolf's behavior just defies expectation again. It's not just focused on the food. It nudges its injured companion, looking at Anna with what she interprets as pleading.
That pack bond is so evident. Its concern for the other wolf seems to override its own hunger, at least initially.
She brings food specifically to the injured one, and the larger wolf stands guard. The source calls this scene nothing short of surreal.
Totally surreal. A wild wolf, a creature of the untamed forest acting protectively in her domestic space, That juxtaposition is really striking.
And this is where the narrative explicitly brings her past trauma right to the forefront. The memory floods back, the crowded train, the men, the lack of help from anyone else.
Okay.
Sometimes fear keeps people from doing what's right. No one had helped her that night on the train. This memory is the narrative's way of showing the direct link between her past pain and her present action.
It is. It provides the powerful motivation for her next, arguably even more radical choice. She whispers, "I won't be that person."
Yeah.
This act isn't just about helping animals, it's about her refusing to repeat the pattern of inaction she witnessed and suffered from. She's actively healing a past wound by being the person who helps when others don't.
So she decides to remove the cruel poacher's trap from the injured wolf's leg. The story doesn't shy away from calling this madness. Approaching an injured predator.
Total madness by any rational standard.
Yeah.
But she takes the tools, shows them to the wolf, sort of communicates with it, and incredibly, the larger wolf shifts to allow her access.
That moment of the wolf shifting is profound, isn't it? It's the narrative signal of this reciprocal trust forming. Anna extends help despite fear, and the wolf extends permission.
Exactly. Demonstrating a connection beyond typical wild animal behavior. She removes the trap, cleans and bandages the wound, while the larger wolf makes this low rumbling sound that somehow reassures. It's an impossible scene made real by their shared vulnerability and that budding trust.
After all that, she makes a barrier with logs, settles by the fire, fully intending to keep watch, but exhaustion just takes over and she falls asleep.
And upon waking, the story plunges us into the truly unexplained. The silver wolf is watching her, yes, but the injured smaller wolf, the one with the horrific leg wound she just tended to.
Yeah.
It's standing easily on all fours.
What?
Yeah, the bandages are off, lying on the floor, and the leg completely whole. No sign of injury or pain.
Okay, that's impossible. Her reaction must be disbelief.
Immediate disbelief.
Yeah.
Perfectly captured. That's not possible. The wound is healed overnight. But how?
Right.
This is the pivotal moment where the narrative definitively shifts genres,
Yeah.
This instantaneous, impossible healing signals that these are not just wild animals, but something else entirely. The smaller wolf approaches cautiously. The silver one bows its head slightly, and Anna articulates the dawning realization. These aren't ordinary wolves. She can feel it.
And giving them names, Silver and Frost, that's her way of acknowledging this extraordinary connection, making them individuals in her mind.
Exactly. It personalizes the impossible.
The blizzard keeps them trapped for 3 more days, forcing this close proximity. And it's within this forced confinement that the impossible encounter deepens into something truly meaningful.
Yes, the confinement facilitates a development of routines, a shared space. And the surprising outcome is Anna's growing comfort. The narrative notes she stops jumping whenever the wolves move.
That's a small thing, but huge, really.
It is, a sign that her primal fear is subsiding.
She starts talking to them almost confessionally. She shares her life, her photography, complaining about the storm. And crucially, she shares that painful memory of the train incident, her loss of confidence, the moment the world felt unsafe.
And Silver's steady gaze makes her wonder if he understands. There's this sense of being heard, maybe.
Yeah, or wanting to be heard. And Frost, the smaller wolf, is this living symbol of the inexplicable, her healed leg still a mystery Anna has stopped trying to solve.
Which is interesting too. The narrative shows Anna choosing to accept the reality of the impossible rather than constantly question it. She's leaning into it.
The bond becomes palpable. Anna cooks for them.
Silver prefers venison.
Right. A small, almost domestic detail. She reads aloud, and Silver listens with attentiveness that should be impossible. His gaze is described as having an expression so human it takes her breath away.
And the impact on Anna's emotional state is profound. She vocalizes it directly. I should be terrified having you two here. Instead, it's the least alone I've felt in months.
Wow.
This is the core paradox the narrative explores, finding belonging and safety, not in isolation from the wild, but actually with it.
The trust builds to a physical level, too. Silver settles beside her chair. She tentatively touches him, feeling his soft fur. Huge. And she falls asleep with them nearby, feeling warm and trusting. It's a remarkable transformation from her initial fear to this state of peace and connection.
Then the storm breaks. The outside world returns, the clearing appears, and the wolves' energy changes. They become tense, ready to leave.
Anna articulates the simple truth. It's time to go home, but with it comes this unexpected wave of grief. Silver hesitates, his eyes still holding that impossible intelligence, while Frost is clearly ready for the forest. They eventually depart.
Her feeling of absence is immediate and sharp. She feels pathetic for missing them so intensely, realizing how quickly she's become dependent on their presence after deliberately choosing solitude.
Yeah, the narrative really shows the vulnerability that comes with connection, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
It impacts her ability to return to her routine. Her photography feels flat. She can't stop scanning the tree line, telling herself they're not coming back, but the disappointment sits heavy.
But Silver does come back.
He does. At dusk, he appears at the forest edge. Her heart leaps, that undeniable connection reasserting itself.
Just watching each other.
Yeah, a quiet greeting. His ears prick forward and they simply watch each other across the distance. She softly says, "You came back." It's a quiet but incredibly significant moment, confirming the bond isn't just temporary.
While this extraordinary, almost secret connection is developing, her old world intrudes via a phone call from her parents.
Ah, reality check.
Pretty much. Her mother is worried it's been almost 7 months since whatever incident prompted her retreat. Her father attempts to pull her back to Seattle, back to her old life, her old career.
They see her isolation as a problem to be solved by returning to the familiar.
Right. And this conversation is where Anna confronts her past trauma head-on with them. When her father questions her hiding, she gives this razor-sharp response, explicitly linking her current isolation to the train incident.
What does she say?
She says, "You mean from a world where I screamed for help while men put their hands on my body and an entire train car of people suddenly found the floor fascinating?"
Wow, that's raw and direct.
It brutally highlights the deep, painful source of her mistrust in people. Her father questions her living alone because she can't trust anyone, and she doubles down, stating that out here, she doesn't expect anything from anyone.
The narrative contrasts the failure of human connection then with the unexpected connection she's found now.
Exactly. But right as she's having this painful conversation, Silver appears in the clearing. She sees him, and there's this fundamental shift in her energy.
Ah.
She smiles, tells her confused father, "Let's just say I've made a friend," and hangs up.
That's a quiet but powerful declaration, isn't it? Her path forward isn't about returning to the old broken world, but embracing the unexpected new one she's found.
And a pattern becomes established, reinforcing this new reality. Silver appears every 2 to 3 days around mid-afternoon, staying for hours. Anna starts planning her days around these visits, keeping her camera ready, saving the best meat.
She initially tries to dismiss it as ridiculous having a wild animal as a dinner guest, but the narrative reveals her true feeling. Her heart leaps with something dangerously close to joy when he appears.
That joy is such a measure of how far she's come from her initial despair.
Definitely. She starts photographing him, and he allows it, doesn't flinch. She finds him beautiful, describing his fur glowing like molten silver.
She asks him if he understands, and his slow blink feels like an almost human affirmation, deepening the mystery in their bond.
The rhythm of her days settles, centered around these visits. That knot in her chest, from her trauma, the one she carried from the city, it starts loosening.
He even brings her a pine cone as a gift.
A pine cone?
Yeah, a small, tangible piece of their impossible connection that she treasures, needing to believe it's real.
Even the weather can't keep him away. During another blizzard, Silver appears, comes onto the porch, and lets her touch him again, leaning into her hand, calm and content.
It's a moment of pure, simple connection that reinforces the safety and trust she feels with him.
This leads to another direct, powerful quote from Anna about her healing journey. "I never thought I'd trust anything again. I thought being alone was safer. But then you showed up."
His constant, reliable presence has allowed her to dismantle the emotional walls she built after the train incident.
She tells him things she's never told anyone else, feeling truly heard. The narrative shows that healing isn't just about forgetting the past, but finding a space where you can share it and feel accepted.
And the personal impact is undeniable. The panic attacks have stopped, the fear has quieted, she's finally sleeping soundly. It's huge.
His fragile peace and connection are shattered, though, in a moment of intense danger. Anna is out photographing a moose, being careful.
Oh.
Yeah. But then a bear with a cub appears, and she realizes she stumbled into the worst possible place between a mother bear and her offspring.
Oh no, that's bad.
She tries to back away, but the bear mirrors her movements. She stumbles, twisting her ankle. She's suddenly immobilized, injured, and completely vulnerable.
And the bear charges.
Yes. And the source makes that chilling, explicit parallel. She screams for help. The same words she'd screamed on the train, just like then no one answers now.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Oh.
It's her worst fear realized back in a moment of crisis, isolated and alone.
She feels despair, all this quiet healing, this building of trust. And here she is, alone again when it matters most. The bear rears up, the ultimate predator, about to strike.
But the pattern of failure from the train incident isn't repeated this time.
No, a sound rips through the clearing. A snarl. primal, fierce, and unmistakable. Silver, he loops, putting himself physically between Anna and the charging bear.
He defends her, draws the bear's attention, dodging, biting.
Anna's panic flips entirely. It's no longer for herself, but for him. Silver, no! Run! She screams. The narrative shows her instinct now is to protect the protector.
But Silver is hit. The description is brutal. A sickening thud, he crumples, broken and bleeding.
Oh, God.
Something breaks inside Anna. Despite her own twisted ankle, she crawls to him, throwing herself over his injured body. This is the absolute climax of her healing journey and the narrative's core theme. She actively refuses to repeat the bystander inaction she suffered from. She whispers, "I won't leave." She won't turn away. "I've got you. I'm not leaving."
She is being the rescuer, completing that arc that began with the train memory.
Exactly. And that's when the impossible returns, amplified. A howl, then another. Whole pack arrives. Frost, a black wolf, gray wolves.
The pack.
Their actions are precise, coordinated, driving the bear away without harming the cub or mother. The narrative emphasizes Anna's realization. They came for her. The connection wasn't just with Silver and Frost, it was with the whole pack.
Incredible.
The immediate aftermath is silence, the pack surrounding them protectively. The black wolf has an intelligent gaze, acknowledging Anna. She pleads for help for Silver, but she can't move him.
And then as the pack begins a low, haunting chant or howl, Silver stirs, his eyes finding hers.
This is where the story fully embraces the magical. Silver's bloodied fur begins to glow. Yeah. The light intensifies, becoming something she can't look straight at. Moonlight seems to gather around him, pulsing like a heartbeat as the wolf's howls rise to a crescendo.
What is happening?
Then there's an explosion of light and soundless wave, and Anna collapses, overwhelmed. The last thing she perceives is Silver's body changing, becoming something impossible.
A transformation.
A complete transformation, signaling the true nature of these wolves.
So Anna wakes up in a hospital. The stark contrast of antiseptic smell replacing the wildness of the cabin. Her parents are there.
Back to the real world.
Right. She's injured but stable. Concussion, hypothermia, sprained ankle. Her parents provide the official story. Rangers found her. It looked like a bear attack. They ask if that's what happened.
And Anna's anxiety is immediate and focused entirely on the wolves, on Silver. She blurts out about them, wanting to know if the Rangers saw them, if Silver is okay.
She insists, "I'm not confused. There were wolves. One of them was hurt trying to protect me."
But her parents, steeped in the rational world she fled, share that look of polite disbelief, the kind that dismisses trauma and the unbelievable. They just don't get it.
Her parents, eager to reassert control and bring her back to the familiar, are already planning her return to Seattle. Her things are packed. Her mother already went to the cabin.
Oh, wow. Overstepping.
Big time. Anna's anger flares. They had no right to erase this life she'd built, however strange.
And then, a crucial interruption. A man in the doorway, tall, powerfully built, with a quiet intensity and amber, striking eyes that Anna feels are familiar in a way Anna can't place.
It's Peter, the hiker, who found her.
And the narrative focuses on his reaction upon seeing her. He's staring at her with an expression of wonder, of hunger, of something so raw.
Anna feels a powerful flash of deja vu, a sense of recognizing something she can't name. It's clicking, but not quite there yet.
She immediately asks to speak to him alone, her urgency about the wolves, specifically the injured silver gray one, overriding everything else.
Peter's response is careful, measured, but provides exactly the relief she needs. There was an injured wolf, but he recovered and got back on his feet. He's fine.
Though that confirmation must have been huge for her, from someone who's there.
Definitely. Then Peter places a hand on her shoulder and says, "Just breathe and be."
And that triggers something.
Big time. "How did you?" she asks. This phrase, linking back to the calming presence and deep connection she felt with Silver, is another narrative breadcrumb. He explains it's something his grandmother said.
And then, the final undeniable clue, Peter tilts his head.
Huh.
The gesture is so achingly familiar that Anna gasps.
The head tilt, like Silver's.
Exactly. This subtle physical mannerism solidifies that inexplicable sense of recognition. She asks him directly, "Do I know you?"
But her parents return and Peter leaves abruptly before she can fully process the connection. His final words are, "Thank you for what you did." The narrative notes his fever-warm hand, the squeeze, the sadness, or resignation in his eyes. Anna is left with this profound feeling of emptiness, like something important just walked out of her room, something she can't quite remember but feels like she can't live without.
The mystery isn't solved yet, but all the pieces are there. She knows somehow.
So she returns to the cabin, healing physically but still longing for Silver, scanning the tree line for any sign of him. Her mother is still there, a presence from the old world, oblivious to the depth of Anna's experiences.
Anna has an emotional release, the tears freezing on her face. She calls out for Silver, needing confirmation he's okay, needing to express how much he meant to her. You were there when no one else was. You showed me I could trust again.
It's her fully accepting and valuing the impossible connection she found.
And in the moonlight, Silver emerges from the trees, his eyes fixed on her. He heard her call.
And in this moment, looking at him, feeling that profound connection again, her certainty solidifies. "You're not just a wolf, are you, Silver?" she asks.
She asks if he understands, and his familiar head tilt confirms her deepest suspicion. It's him.
She makes the final bold choice. She invites him inside, and he follows with eerie understanding. She closes the door, her mother still sleeping, completely unaware of the extraordinary guest.
Wow.
In her bedroom, she faces him, asking the question that unlocks the mystery. Why did he keep coming back? You've been watching over me all this time. Why?
And then the culmination of the magical elements. The air around him shimmers, there's light, and the transformation occurs. Silver is gone, and a naked man kneels in his place.
Peter. Peter.
And a shock is mixed with recognition. Peter. She understands who he is, but not how you were a wolf and now you're.
And here's where the narrative provides the backstory. Peter explains he couldn't appear human before because he hadn't been human for 3 years.
3 years? Why?
The story reveals his world. Humans discovered their existence, leading to violence killing his father and others. Peter became the alpha, and his response to this trauma was absolute mistrust, deciding humans couldn't be trusted.
The very parallel to Anna's own journey of mistrust.
Exactly. Seeking to protect his pack, he went to a magician or a man who grants wishes. His wish was for them to be undetectable to humans for as long as I deemed necessary.
Okay, a magical protection. But there's always a price.
Always. And the narrative details the price of this spell. It wasn't physical, but tied directly to his emotional state, his core belief, his absolute certainty that humans couldn't be trusted.
Ah, so his certainty powered the spell.
Kind of. It also created a vulnerability, a pathway for the spell to eventually break. The curse trapped them in their wolf forms, and Peter reveals the key to breaking it. The spell would break when he no longer believed all humans were dangerous.
Anna must have put it together then.
She understands immediately, articulating the insight. When you no longer believed all humans were dangerous, Peter confirms, I thought it would be forever, then he came along.
So she broke the curse.
Yes. This is the narrative's core message about the power of trust and compassion. Peter explains how Anna broke the curse. It wasn't magic words, but her selfless act during the bear attack, throwing herself over him, willing to die for a wolf, for him.
In that moment, I realized not all humans were my enemies. His absolute certainty shattered.
Exactly. The curse broke because he no longer deemed it necessary to hide, because his fundamental belief about humans had changed, thanks to her.
And with the curse broken, he confesses his feelings. He says he's been falling in love with her since the moment you bandaged my sister's leg without a thought for your own safety.
Wow. His love grew from witnessing her compassion.
Anna asked why he didn't tell her at the hospital. Peter explains the danger of life with shifters is inherently dangerous for a human. His fear wasn't for himself, but for her safety.
And his even deeper fear was of not being able to let her go if she knew the truth. I know I'll never love another like I love you. I could never let you go again.
That's intense. Understanding his fear, born of past loss, and his devotion, forged in shared danger and quiet connection.
The narrative brings their individual journeys of healing and finding trust together in their embrace. The kiss is described as gentle, deepening into something more urgent. Anna feels completely perfectly at home with him.
That feeling of belonging, which she sought in isolation, is found in the arms of the impossible, the wild made human.
The parallel healing is made explicit, both retreated from the world, wounded and mistrustful, and both found healing and connection in each other in the most unexpected circumstances.
The story ends with a wolf howl outside the cabin. It's no longer a sound of the threatening wild, but a symbol of belonging, a family of the pack welcoming Anna into their world. The future stretching before them is unexpected and beautiful.
So what does this all mean? We've journeyed through a story that starts as a quiet survival tale and transforms into something else entirely, a narrative about deep healing, impossible connections, and a love story forged in blizzards and bear attacks.
It really makes you consider how past trauma can lead us to build walls, seeking safety in isolation, but how true healing often comes from daring to trust again, sometimes in the most unbelievable forms,
Absolutely. The narrative's core insight seems to be that compassion isn't just an action, it's a force. Anna's simple act of kindness and courage didn't just save a life. In the story, it quite literally held the power to break a curse tied to a fundamental belief.
It raises an important question, doesn't it? If a curse, even a magical one in a story like this, can be broken when one person's certainty about the world changes, triggered by another's selfless act, well, what does that tell us about the power of human connection and belief in shaping our own realities, even beyond the magical?
Yeah, something to chew on until our next deep dive.